been stuck on social media because it's addicting, like an endless supply of drugs, dopamine spikes. These are designed to flood your feed with content because it knows you want to consume. But why can't it be beneficial? It can. And that's exactly why I've developed Luxury Updates, your premier escape from unintelligible consumption and a deep dive into the most captivating and advantageous information on the internet. Holistic injections, a topic that redefines the modern solutions in medicinal practices, providing the best information to keep you from having to go to the hospital. With God's Green Earth, we use herbal ingredients to neutralize problems before and after they occur, simultaneously influencing healthy habits and fitness tips to keep you at the pinnacle level of performance and wellness. Technological advancements. We are constantly trying to keep up with the evolution of technology and AI. As the world strives to replace inconvenience and struggle, technology is quickly becoming the new age definition of the Industrial Revolution. Business is the exchange of utility and time, which makes proficiency professional, and if you can't keep up, the robots will leave you behind. Timeless Stoicism, a brief motivation towards the unity of one's mind, body, and soul. Stoicism isn't just a practice. It's a mindset that requires the most modest and disciplined characters of a person to transform them into the best version for themselves and others. As Aristotle once said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, it is a habit. With a blend of world news, blockchain poly, luxury sound, and the current, we bring to you an aggregation of the most fascinating information that will accelerate your learning capacity and compound directly into your knowledge banks. So why would you wait? The world is getting more and more advanced by the day, and time doesn't wait for anyone. Connect with us as we navigate the complex reality that is, and how we can be a step ahead when the time comes. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Welcome, friends, to another episode of Luxury Updates. We are proficient because that is what defines professionalism. Understand, today we will always go through the topics of medicinal medicine, of technological advancements, and of course, retaining a constant stature of stoicism. We have some very important topics on the list today, that of which includes tax evasion, and some may find very interesting, hair loss. So, with that being said, why don't we get into it? Not making this mistake again. Bear with me. Today's topic of holistic injections, hair loss. Ooh, that's going to be a little annoying. I swear I used a different software when I did the last holistic injections, but for some reason I could not find it. Anyway, today's herbal solutions include evening primrose, horsetail, rosemary, sage, and saw palmetto. First on the list, evening primrose. Evening primrose medicinal use. Oil comes from the seeds of the evening primrose, which contain gamma-linolenic acid, GLA, and omega-6 fatty acid, also found in borage. Flower, roots, bark, and leaves are also used medicinally. The effects of hair loss in men and women, evening primrose cures and attacks the hormonal causes of male pattern baldness, androgenetic alopecia in women. By balancing the hormones, it prevents further hair loss and in some people helps hair grow back. It is best used both internally and externally. Rub on the scalp daily along with diluted rosemary essential oil. Edible use. All parts of evening primrose are edible, including the flowers, leaves, stalks, oil, root, and seed pods. Roots can be eaten either cooked or boiled. Its flowers and flower buds are good raw in salads. Young seed pods can be cooked or steamed. Second year stems can be peeled and eaten fresh. Its seeds are edible and oily. Leaves aren't usually eaten due to their texture, but can be if boiled a few times. I'm just now realizing I could probably just read this straight off of the presentation. Second on the list, horsetail. Horsetail's medicinal use. The green vegetative stalks in horsetail are extremely high in silica, which benefits joints and connective tissue. It is a gentle diuretic, astringent, and septic. Septic. It is edible. The early spring fertile shoots. Why'd you do that? The early spring fertile shoots, tan in color, of both giant horsetail, Equisetum talmatia, and common horsetail can be peeled and eaten raw. The green infertile shoots are cooked and eaten like asparagus. They are bitter, especially as they age. Do not eat them raw. Changing the water 3 to 4 times during cooking helps relieve the bitter flavor. The roots can be eaten raw, but they are difficult to collect in quantity, so they usually are eaten only in a starvation situation. Horsetail promotes healthy bones, hair, and teeth. Because it contains high amounts of silica, it promotes strong hair, teeth, and bones and increases bone density in people with osteoporosis when used consistently. It can also be made into a strengthening conditioning wash for the hair. A tooth powder of horsetail helps with cavities and enamel repair, alleviates signs of aging. The silica in horsetail stimulates the production of collagen, which is important in the skin aging process. It helps prevent fine lines and wrinkles and promotes healthy hair. It can be used internally, externally as a toner, or added to a topical cream or salve. Warning! Horsetail moderately and for use horsetail moderately and for a limited time only. Overuse can have side effects, which tend to occur after 2 or more months of use. Long-term use can cause side effects including thiamine deficiency, potassium deficiency, lowered blood sugar levels, nicotine toxicity, and kidney irritation. Do not consume horsetail if you are pregnant or lactating. Avoid using Esquisitum palustre. See, this was getting me earlier. Palustre, whatever it says. Marsh horsetail. Don't buy the marsh horsetail, as it has slight toxicity. Be careful where you collect horsetail, as it collects toxins, especially in agricultural areas. Third on the list, rosemary. Rosemary's medicinal use contains caffeic acid, carnosic acid, I believe I didn't butcher that, carnosic acid, carnosol, and rosmarinic acid, anti-inflammatories, and antioxidants. Rosemary's edible use, it's often used in cooking. The leaves and the flower petals, almost said powder, flower petals are edible and nutritious. Hair loss. Rosemary essential oil has been shown to be as effective as the prescription hair growth drug minoxidil. Apply in a carrier oil on the scalp. I prefer coconut oil and keep using long term. Third on the list, I know a lot of people will love this one, sage. That was probably really loud. Sage's medicinal use is an antiseptic, antimicrobial, anti-mutagenic, antibacterial, and helps stop neuropathic pain, improves memory, lowers blood glucose levels, and alleviated menopause symptoms. It is an excellent all-around herb. Sage. Did I really just skip over that? Oh, wow, that was fast. Okay, I'll have to look at that. when doing the next holistic injection. Sage, edible use, is commonly used as a cooking herb. Okay, I guess I could have just passed that. Anyway. Hair growth. Sage's essential oil improves blood circulation to the scalp and roots of the hair. This encourages thick hair growth and is often paired with rosemary essential oil. We just talked about rosemary. Warning: sage can significantly reduce the amount of milk produced in nursing mothers. Avoid to use when breastfeeding. And for the last on the list, we have saw palmetto. Saw palmetto's medicinal use. Its berries are used for medicine. Plain and simple. Edible and other use. There are other uses to saw palmetto. The heart is edible raw or cooked, as is the ripe fruit, which is described as having a blue cheese-like or soapy flavor. I don't know why that would be appealing to people, but we're talking about medicine here. We're not talking about appeal. To access the delicious heart, cut the trunk and peel away the outer husk. The new shoots are also edible. The palm stems/stalks are used for cordage, rope, and basket making. Hence other uses. Androgenetic alopecia. I hope I didn't butcher that last word. Saw palmetto berries treat androgenetic alopecia. In some people, this is a type of hair loss and baldness caused by hormone imbalance. Warning! Warning! To avoid use of saw palmetto. Avoid use of saw palmetto if you have a blood clotting disorder, liver disease, or pancreas disorder. Do not use saw palmetto if pregnant or breastfeeding. Saw palmetto increases fertility and makes birth control pills less effective. Do not give saw palmetto to children. I also encourage, if you are on birth control, to stop it. Stop it. And I believe that concludes our episode of Holistic Injections. I pressed the wrong button, so that is all right. I lost the cursor now. I see it on the screen. Why can't I get over to the X button? All right, so on to the best information that you can see on the internet, because I aggregated it all together just for you guys. I love you guys just as much as I love doing this. So, as we talked about last week, we saw that Russia ordered a ceasefire on the U.S. Why? Because they're winning the war. Why are they winning the war? Because Ukraine is fucked. The money laundering scheme, we went over this last week. The money laundering scheme used in war. You know what? I'm not even going to say it this week, because the topic of this entire live stream today is tax evasion. So we are literally going to go over the tax evasion used in war. So everything I was talking about last week is very simply made into a kid's video. It is the topic of today's Holistic Injections, and we will get to it.
A hybrid vehicle that's part car, part helicopter. Designed to fit in a standard garage, it takes off and lands vertically.
And if you're confused why I just talked so heavily on tax evasion and then started showing a helicopter, is because the main video will be shown at the end, obviously. Let's continue.
From any open space. On the road, it hits speeds of 120 kilometers per hour, while in the air, it reaches 160 for 3 hours. Would you consider buying one? A hybrid vehicle that's part car, part helicopter. Designed to fit in a standard garage, it takes off and...
Would you buy one? Would you want to fly in your own car? Looks like you die pretty fast.
Einstein's
Stoicism. I love this shit. Let's get into it.
said the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. If the quantum field is an invisible field of energy that exists beyond our senses, beyond our body, our environment, and time, then the only way we are going to connect to it is take all of our attention off our body, take all of your attention off of linear time, the predictable future and the familiar past, and find the sweet spot of the generous present moment. That's the unknown. That's the door. If it's all frequency and it's all energy, then the next thing we have to do then is get our brain coherent, because thought is the electrical charge, is the impulse in the quantum field. And the feeling, the elevated emotion, is the magnetic charge. You take a thought and a feeling, an image and an emotion, a vision of the future with a coherent brain and a coherent heart, you got a whole new Wi-Fi signal. Now you're broadcasting new information into the field, and you're connected to this field. Keep changing the information in the field, you're going to change the destiny of your experience and matter.
I'm not even going to comment on that. You can just understand it for yourself. And if you don't understand it, do some research. Actually, I said this last time. I love this doctor, but let's get into it because I'm not even going to say it.
Another lie that you've all been taught. Red meat causes coronary artery. Then explain to me, sir, why, if 50% of the population, in fact in some places it's even more in India, it's 80% in certain areas of India, are vegetarians, how come they have such a high incidence of coronary artery disease? It's not nothing to do with red meat and chicken, it's to do with sugar. So this is all lies. Red meat. No, I don't mind red meat, but you got to eat grass-finished red meat. So it contains all the vitamin K2 and none of the omega-6s in it. The meat you buy today is manufactured because they're eating corn. Since when are cows supposed to eat corn? And then you give them antibiotics because the corn rots in the stomach. They have 4 stomachs. They're supposed to be ruminants, right? But they can't because they corn. It starts rotting and then they die. So you have to give them antibiotics to kill all the bad bacteria in their gut. All those antibiotics get into your bloodstream and then you get dysbiosis. Then you wonder why you all have dysbiosis and why you got so many antibiotics going on in your colon, killing those poor bacteria in your gut, which should be actually helping you. Do you see the vicious cycle here? So I don't mind meat, and all my studies clearly show that. But make sure it's grass-finished. 80% of the corn is fed to animals, not even humans. That's another lie that you've all been.
I'll tell a little personal story. I just had a chat with one of my friends, one of my business partners, probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. As I was literally pulling up to the shopping market parking lot, I was on the phone with him and I told him about how I don't trust the meat inside of these stores because it's mass produced. And he started questioning me on that, and I said, well, if you think about it, if you take, over here in Michigan, if you take all the collective massive chain supermarkets, we could talk about Walmart, we could talk about Meijer, we could talk about Target, we could talk about Kroger, we could talk about just about any of those kinds of stores, they all have meat on the shelves, right? Which means they all buy from the same supplier. And who do the suppliers buy from? They buy from the farms, right? So here's the question. How are there enough animals being born on a consistent basis so that they can be slaughtered on a consistent basis to supply the amount of meat that are hitting the shelves for the population to consume? Do you really believe that there are enough animals being born and growing on a regular, consistently, I'm talking about generation per generation per generation, enough, consistently, all the time? So much so that all of these stores are being supplied with a almost endless amount of meat all the time. It's just something to think about. Just something to think about.
What I found in my research is that there's a series of qualities that self-made millionaires have. If you have these qualities, your success is virtually guaranteed. And if you don't have these qualities, the qualities are learnable. Point number 1 is that all business or sales skills are learnable. All financial skills are learnable. If you can drive a car, you can learn any skill. Now, number 2 is you're probably only one skill away from doubling your income right now. You're probably only one skill away from setting yourself on the road to becoming a self-made millionaire. That turns out to be the case for almost everyone. And then I discovered that all people who are successful are excellent at what they do. You know the old question they asked Willie Sutton, the bank robber, why do you rob banks? He said, well, that's where the money is. Well, being in the top 10% is where the money is. So what you have to do is you have to pay any price and make any sacrifice to get into the top 10% in your field. So make this decision to get into the top 10%. And let me tell you what changed my life. Here I was struggling in my late 20s, and I learned this. It was a breakthrough thought. Is that everybody's in the top 10% started in the bottom 10%. Everybody who's doing well was once doing poorly. Everybody who is at the top of your field today was once not even in your field at all and didn't even know it existed. What that means is that if you're willing to pay the price and work hard and make the sacrifices, you can get into the top 10%. Now, how long does it take? It doesn't take a week or a month. Most people are really impatient. And to achieve mastery in your field takes 5 to 7 years. People say 5 to 7 years. Geez, I'll be 5 to 7 years older before I start enjoying the big rewards. Well, how much older will you be in 5 to 7 years anyway?
Exactly.
Now, here's an important point. Are you ready? The time is going to pass anyway. The time is going to pass. 5 to 7 years from now, 5 to 7 years will have passed. The only question is, are you going to be at the top of your field, or are you still going to be down there with the mediocre 80%? And the wonderful thing is this is nobody's better than you, and nobody's smarter than you. If anybody else is at the top of their field, it means that you can be at the top of your field. Just go to them and find out how they got there, because they started at the bottom. Next is refuse to consider the possibility of failure. It's the most amazing darn thing is that the fear of failure is the greatest single obstacle to success in adult life. And it's not failure itself, because each one of you is a professional failure. What I found in my research is that there's
Every single one of you is a professional failure. Did I stop this too early?
a series of qualities that self-made millionaires have.
Okay, I did not. Anyone can learn anything. Well, that's subjective. But anyway, anyone can be in the top 10%, just as well as anyone could be in the top 1% if they worked hard enough. What is your competence? Define it. Who are you comparing yourself against, and who is mentoring you? Is it on a 1-to-1 basis? Is it on a 1-to-100 basis? Because if you're getting the same information that 99 others are getting, and that's also subjective, you could take the same piece of information and do much better than the other 99%. But if you were being mentored on a 1-to-1 basis, wouldn't that influence you a lot better? Wouldn't that help you a lot more to achieve the things that you are trying to get? It's just something to think about. Son of a gun. Oh yeah. This
Вот его
one.
там нашли, короче, ну, смотри.
This is
Пойдем.
crazy.
Вон, видишь. Сейчас сюда проходим, смотри. Вон она, сука, безобразие лежит. Сейчас, погоди, подожди. Да вот, ебать, часа 2 назад хули,
I'm
ебать,
surprised
ну.
this is still on the internet.
Собака хули унюхала, сука. И все, мы хули думаем, что за нахуй лежит? Смотри,
What is that?
да я хуй знает, погоди.
What is that? What is that?
Вообще, ебать его копать, что за нахуй-то это? Ну, да понятно, что дохлый будет.
Is that what I think it is?
Да хлеб, короче, лежит полнейший. Полнейшая дохлеть.
Is that what I...
Ноги хули нету, ебаный, видишь, нахуй.
Загрызли, наверное.
Вообще как это ебать тень. Непонятная.
Он уже, наверное, с неделю лежит, наверное, тут.
Ну.
Если не больше.
Scientists will think it's AI. I'm just saying that. Check out this tech. Fix my snare and burst. Boom! Ain't that some crazy technology?
What if I told you there's a simple moving average trick that's predicted Bitcoin's biggest market tops within just a
talking about
couple of
charts
days?
now.
Well, sounds too good to be
Talking
true,
about
right? But
indicators.
that's exactly what the Pi Cycle Top Indicator has done over 3 straight Bitcoin bull runs.
I'll just say this as wide-termed as possible. Use this with your own discretion, because there is not ever one single indicator that'll be able to verify every top and every bottom. You got to understand that. It requires systems on systems on systems, and it requires the most quantitative, well, I guess qualitative too, but is based off of qualitative. You don't want like the worst. You don't you don't want one piece of information to take your whole bias and send it through. You want to aggregate as much information as possible and then develop your systems in order to be able to make that decision. Although I love Mark Moss, he is on top of his game when it comes to this. I feel like it's a little satire that he would say this, but I still thought it was good information for people who develop systems. So anyway,
And the way it works, it's super simple, all right? It's almost feels like a cheat code. The indicator is based on two key moving averages. The 111-day moving average, which is the orange line on the chart, and this follows Bitcoin's short-term price trend. Then there's the 350-day moving average, and this is the green line. The key signal is when these two lines cross. Every time the 111 DMA, the orange line, crosses above the 350 DMA times 2, the green, it's lined up with Bitcoin's cycle top almost perfectly. In all three major cycles, the Pi cycle top indicator flashed within just a few days of Bitcoin's all-time high. I mean, that's a pretty insane track record, especially for a tool that doesn't really rely on any sentiment. Even if it does cross, it doesn't mean we crash immediately. But in the past couple cycles, it meant we were within weeks of the top. Once they start flashing the top, I start looking at all the other ones very closely. What if I told you there's a simple moving average?
I don't want to use the, don't provide yourself with an illusion that it's that easy. That's all I'll say in regards to that.
As your weight goes up, the size and function of the brain goes down. Somebody's got to say the truth. And then people go, oh, but you're fat shaming. And it's like, no, I published a study on 33,000 people. It lowers blood flow to your brain. It premature.
Here's another thing. 33,000 is a large number, but when you compare it to the world, which is 7 billion, I don't know, maybe it's close to 8 billion now, maybe it's even over 8 billion. That number is not very big. So take this with a grain of salt to an extent, because, he doesn't provide information about other issues that the 33,000 he tested might have had.
Ages your brain. It increases inflammation. It changes your genetics. Fat stores toxins. You're more likely to be depressed. It damages your immunity.
And I'm not saying, so this is what you got to understand with all of this information that I provide you guys. You have to take it and use your own discretion. You got to do your own research. You got to outsource information. Just because I'm showing it here does not mean every single fact and every single thing that's said in the video is correct. You got to understand yourself as an individual. You got to understand your own anatomy. You got to understand your own genetics. And you got to take what is being said, especially when I'm doing a topic through holistic injections, because I definably say that this is through the topic of holistic injections. Although it's not in holistic injections, it is a part of the informational topic of holistic injections. You got to understand, not everything that I put on here is for everyone. You get what I'm saying? Because everyone's a little bit different. That ties into my post that got a lot of attention recently. Although what I said was very vague, it does take a large group of people and helps them. But for majority else, not majority, but a large fraction of the rest of the people, that might not actually apply to them. It's all based off how you take it, how you've taken care of yourself, what's going on with your own personal health, yada this, yada that. So just keep that in mind. A lot of information that I put on here is really good information, but use it with your own discretion and your own knowledge. Don't be naive.
Takes healthy testosterone, turns it into unhealthy cancer-promoting forms of estrogen, and impairs your sleep. The truth is, being at an unhealthy weight is unhealthy for your brain and body. As your weight goes...
Which is common sense. I just went on that whole rant. Don't be unhealthy. This video came out probably a few months ago. I swear I was one of the first people to see it. This shit is crazy. If you haven't seen it, this shit is crazy. Get ready for this. Dude's got a literal laser beam. It's like a laser sight, but it actually inflicts damage. And you can't see it. Well, there are some lasers that you can't see the direct beam, but you get what I'm saying. Trump, is this a... Huh. I guess not. Thought it was a click-through. I guess not. Trump says all JFK assassination files totaling over 80,000 pages will be released tomorrow. I believe those are already on the internet. You can go look at those right now if you wanted to.
Porsche, you gave me a GT3 RS. If you want me to make a video, I'm making a video now. Suck my fucking balls. Suck my balls, Porsche.
Flashback.
Why is everything the Matrix? Why can't I just have a fucking car? Why do I need an account that knows everything, how many bitches I'm fucking, and
It's
knows
really
my whole
like
life?
this. If
Continue
you
as
think
guest.
about
I'm a
it,
guest. Privacy
about
mode.
everything
Your
you
vehicle's
do.
currently in privacy mode. To fully activate all functions and the associated data transfer, privacy mode must be deactivated. Data is transferred from your vehicle to Porsche and selected partner companies. What the fuck is this? I just want to drive my car. So what, if I use the voice command, it ends up in fucking GCHQ? So they can analyze my voice for racism and put me in jail?
Yup.
Fucking privacy mode. Fuck you. You did not deactivate privacy mode. Only safety relevant and legally required services and associated data transfer remain active. Okay. It tried very hard to make me make an account and very hard to make me agree to sending all the information they want to Porsche. I don't know what the fuck they wanted. That's Apple CarPlay. Got a bunch of other stuff here. Air conditioning, sport chrono. We need air conditioning. It's hot. Hot as a motherfucker. But air conditioning's down here. I don't know what this actually does. Cool. So we can go through the whole fucking infotainment system, but that would be gay. Everyone just uses Apple CarPlay nowadays, don't they? I'm already offended by this car. Trying to make me do gay shit, like tell them everything. So, the first thing you'll notice when you get in this car, besides the fact they want to own your blood, which I'll never do, staying a guest forever. Oh, that's Andrew Tate's car. Send the virus. Make the brakes stop working. Laugh. You can laugh if you want. That's the exact kind of shit they do to me.
It's really
Oh, that's
true.
Andrew Tate's car there. Get him. Fuck you. I'm a guest. Suck my balls. You're not going to upload your fucking virus into my car.
It happens.
I'm a guest. You're going to have to upload it into all the guest accounts trying to get me. So that innocents die along with Porsche. You gave me a GT3 RS. If you want me to make a video, I'm making a video now. Suck my fucking balls.
Shout out Andrew Tate. Funny motherfucker.
60% of all pork is produced by one company in the U.S.
I keep telling people this. Oh man, I keep telling people this. Ties into that whole rant I had about beef like 20 minutes ago.
And that is 100% owned by the Chinese. 4 companies control over 80% of the meat industry in the United States. More than 10,000 different additives are allowed in the U.S. food supply. 99% of chicken, 95% of hogs, 78% of cattle in the U.S. are raised in confinement buildings or feedlots. Means they're not moving around freely. 80% of the antibiotics consumed in the U.S. are fed to animals. Here's a stat. In 2016, 18.4 million pounds of antibiotics were sold for livestock. And that's what you're eating. Suicide rates amongst farmers are the highest than any other profession, and that includes veterans, believe it or not. I found that alarming. 60% of all pork is produced by one company in the U.S., and that is one.
Think about what you're eating. Go to the farmer's market, you motherfuckers. This is gangsta.
How you doing, sir? We're doing DUI checkpoint and driver's license check tonight.
Identify yourself, please.
Deputy Hess with the Sheriff's Office.
Badge number.
4920.
Is your body cam rolling?
I can turn it on if you like.
Thank you.
Yep. Want to see your driver's license real quick?
Before we proceed, I want to inform you that I don't consent to any searches or seizures. I'm also, under the advice of my attorney, not going to answer any questions without my lawyer present.
Save this one. Save this one.
All right, sir. Have a good night.
And no, I do not consent or advise you to drink and drive. I'm just saying, if you get pulled over and you just don't want to, here is the script.
Have you ever done tax?
Here we are to the topic of the video, tax evasion. I hope you really like this one just as much as I did.
Have you ever done tax evasion? No? Well, this shit is pretty fun and simple. Let's say you come to me one day with a briefcase full of cash. If the IRS finds out, you'll have to pay millions in taxes. Instead of doing that, we'll make our money disappear. How do we do that? It's easy. Just start a war. What? Yeah, when a war starts, the government spends millions on the military, which is why we'll set up a weapon-making company. On paper, we'll sell bullets, tanks, and missiles to the army. But in reality, we don't produce shit. Won't the government find out? They won't. During a war, everyone's too busy fighting and giving orders. No one checks bills or receipts, which means we can charge 10 times the normal prices. A $100 bullet can be sold for $1,000. A tent that should cost $1,000 is sold for $5,000. On paper, the government pays millions to us for the supplies. But all of that extra money goes straight to you. Well, what happens if the war stops? It won't. We'll make sure of that. How will you do that? Just fund both sides. While selling weapons to the government, we'll secretly sell it to their enemies too. Not only that, but we'll supply outdated weapons, so both sides keep needing replacements, which means more sales for us. Once we get enough money, we can even bribe politicians to keep the war going. We'll also bribe the other side to continue fighting, because war means business. Holy shit. Exactly. Now we go to the next part of our plan. Actually starting wars. This is where this shit really gets deep. First, keep bribing the politicians. If you control the politics, you control the war. Next, we'll look for new conflicts in other countries. If we find one, we'll fund the rebel groups to destabilize their governments, forcing them to buy weapons from us. After that, we'll force our bribed politicians to intervene in this new war, convincing them that America needs to step in. Is that why the US keeps entering every war on the planet? That's right. More wars mean more money. So now what? Now we move to the final phase. We need to make sure the public never says shit to us. So, we buy out media companies and news networks to control the story. If we start funding a new war, we'll make sure the news presents it as a heroic mission for democracy. What if people start asking too many questions? If that happens, you'll create a new enemy. The moment one war ends, we shift the focus to a new threat. It could be a rogue nation, a rebel group, or even a dictatorship that secretly popped up. Just like that, we justify selling more weapons. So let me get this straight. We fake a reason for war, fund both sides, bribe politicians to keep it going, use the media to convince people it's necessary, and get paid tax-free? Exactly. We can even store our money in offshore bank accounts, so the government can't track shit. And just like that, we committed tax evasion. Don't try this at home.
Don't try that at home, my friends. But it is incredible information. Everyone should know about the dangers of war and its sole purpose. So, with that being all said, I'm glad and I hope you really enjoyed today's episode of Luxury Updates. If you enjoy, please come back next week for the next episode of Luxury Updates, as we will continuously be going over the top information, the most current that there is to be shown. And I love you all. Have a great week, my friends.
I'm walking down this road of mine, this road that I go home, so am I wrong? For thinking Thinking that we could be something for real. Now am I wrong for trying to reach the things that I can't see? But that's just how I feel. But that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Trying to reach the things that I can't see. Am I tripping for having a vision? My prediction, I'ma be on top of the world. Whoa, don't look back. Always do what you decide. Don't let them control your life. That's just how I feel. Oh, fight for yours, so don't let go. Don't let them compare you, no. Don't worry, you're not alone. That's just how we feel. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Thinking that we could be something for real. Oh. Now am I wrong? Am I wrong? For trying to reach the things that I can't see. But that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Trying to reach the things that I can't see. If you tell me I'm wrong, I don't wanna be right. If you tell me I'm wrong, I don't wanna be right. If you tell me I'm wrong, I don't wanna be right. If you tell me I'm wrong, I don't wanna be right. Am I wrong? Thinking that we could be something for real. Now am I wrong for trying to reach the things that I can't see? But that's just how I feel. But that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Trying to reach the things that I can't see. So am I wrong? Am I wrong? Thinking that we could be something for real. Now am I wrong? Am I wrong? For trying to reach the things that I can't see. But that's just how I feel. But that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Trying to reach the things that I can't see. So am I wrong? Am I wrong? Thinking that we could be something for real. Now am I wrong? Am I wrong? For trying to reach the things that I can't see. But that's just how I feel. But that's just how I